Hello everyone and welcome to Sinful Gaming. I hope you're all doing well, I hope you're all staying safe, and most of all, I hope you're all fighting that war against the Grey. Today's video, we're going to talk getting started with Warhammer Age of Sigmar Warcry, and today we're going to take a look at the cities of Sigmar, and in particular, the free city of Greywater Fastness. In this video, we're going to go through talk about what's special about Greywater Fastness in Warcry, what exactly you can do with this particular warband on the table. We'll then take a look at some units we can use to start our Greywater Fastness with, before further looking at some other units to expand upon after those initial purchases. Finally, at the end of the video, we'll give you a 1000 Renown Warband for you to use as some inspiration for creating your own Greywater Fastness Warband for Warhammer Age of Sigmar Warcry. So with all of that said, like many of the warbands, you can go to warhammercommunity.com, and down in their download section, you will find the rules for so many of the warbands free to download. That's amazing. Now, Cities of Sigmar have their own one because they're really interesting. They have this unique pool of miniatures, which contains elves, dwarven, humans, and other things as well in there. And they all pull them together, and then you pick a city on top of that you get to play with. This is really cool because it means you can freely change from, say, Greywater Fastness, as we're talking about in this video, or go look at the Living City or Hammerhall videos and use your same miniatures in a different way for a different faction. It really is a great place to get started for Warcry. Now, with that said, all of these warbands do make certain units better. So you'll certainly have, those units that can form a core and work well in any free city they're part of, but definitely some get more out of particular cities, especially the more specialized units. Now, with that said, Greywater Fastness is a shooting-focused warband. You've got a variety of different ways to both increase the efficiency of your shooting, whether that's adding damage, adding attacks to your shots, or getting more out of your fighters as well in other ways, just getting more shooting out of them. This is really cool stuff. You've also got a reaction where if one of your fighters is targeted by an attack, you can make a reaction to just deal damage back to your opponent. Effectively, you stand and shoot them. You shoot back at your opponents with your reactions. Really nice, you just roll dice and you do some damage back at your opponents. Now, where to start with this warband? And I think the best place to start is a Rune Lord. Rune Lords are great in Greywater Fastness. Now, you've still got Forge Fire like a lot of the free cities. This is being able to bolster some of your strength up in melee, but you also have the triple called Rune of Unfaltering Aim. Until the end of the battle round, you add one to the damage points allocated to enemy fighters by each critical hit from missile actions made by friendly fighters that are within 6 inches of this fighter. So you can really boost up some of those powerful shots, and a lot of your shots do have some higher damage, so adding some extra crit can be a really powerful thing. Now we're looking at units to bring alongside the Rune Lord. We're going to talk Iron Breakers and Iron Drakes. These are two types of dwarven units, and they actually are the same box, so you could probably pick up a single box of these miniatures and build half and half, and you've probably got a solid little unit there. Now, Iron Breakers are pretty standard. 60 Renown is pretty cheap for what you get. Well, you only have 3-inch movement, you've got Toughness 5 and 12 wounds, which is pretty solid. Iron Drakes, on the other hand, pack out 2 shots each at strength 3, 1-4 on the damage at a 12-inch range, but really where I think the Iron Drakes come into it is when you pack out one of the leader options for them, which is the Iron Warden, and he can take a Grudge Hammer Torpedo. This is a 3 to 15-inch range weapon with 2 shots at strength 5, 2-5 on the damage. He also gets a nice 16 wounds and toughness 4 for the model. I think this is a great sort of combination. You've got nice high durability models that are really cheap in Iron Breakers, with some decent range shooting power in the Iron Drakes, and a fantastic shooting piece available in that Grudge Hammer Torpedo there. But where do we look to next for the cities of Sigmar in Greywater Fastness? Free Good Handgunners, for me, I think are a really nice option. First of all, your basic handgunner is going to put out 2 shots at strength 4 and 1-3 on the damage. This is a higher strength than the Iron Drakes, which I think makes them that little bit better, though you do drop to toughness 3 and only 10 wounds, which makes you that little bit more flimsy, but I think these are that little bit more worth it. Now, like the Iron Drakes, the Free Guild Handgunners have a really cool thing where their sergeant gets to pick out some nice unique weapon. Their leader option is called the Marksman, and you can have one with a repeater handgun, which puts out 3 shots at strength 4, 1-3 on the damage. Or he can also use the rapid fire ability to potentially get up to 6 shots on this model and pack out a ton of firepower. Or you can have the marksman have a long rifle, as you can see pictured here in the middle of the unit at the top left, which will be a single shot at strength 4, but it will be 410 on the damage. An incredibly powerful, useful shot that can actually get some extra shots out of this model if you're using it in the first turn. A really good, strong assassination piece if you can get the right buffs off on it. Now, looking at other units, we have the Gyro Bomber and the Gyrocopter. These are two really interesting pieces. Now, the Gyro Bomber and the Gyrocopter are both really expensive. They're at hero level cost, with the Gyro Bomber costing 220 Renown and the Gyrocopter costing 195 Renown. The Gyro Bomber will put out 3 attacks at range, 3 to 15, strength 4, 1-3 on the damage. You'd only get 2 shots at the same range with the Gyrocopter. The big difference comes in the fact the Gyro Bomber has the nice big bombs it drops in combat for 3 attacks at strength 5, 2-4 on its damage, compared to the 2 attacks at strength 4, 2-4 on the damage for the Gyrocopter. The Gyro Bomber also packs out an extra 3 wounds, though it drops 2 inches of movement in comparison to the Gyrocopter. Lastly, we have Free Guild Outriders. I really like this cavalry option, as cavalry got a nice boost in the latest edition of Warcry, now able to climb stairs and carry some treasure for you. Free Guild Outriders put out 3 shots each as a strength 4, 1-3 on the damage. You notice the same, they've got repeater handguns on them. And then, much like a lot of the other shooting units, you've got a nice leader option in the unit called a Sharpshooter, who can have a grenade launching blunderbuss. You heard that right, a grenade launcher in fantasy. 2 shots at strength 6, 2-5 on the damage at range with that weapon. And so here we have our little sample warband for you to use as some inspiration for creating your own warband. Now, leader-wise, we've gone for the Rune Lord as our champion, and we've taken a marksman with long rifle and an Iron Warden with Grudge Hammer Torpedo. This is going to provide us with some really nice shooting power for the army. I really like the marksman with the long rifle in Greywater Fastness. I think it's where he really does come into his own with Greywater Welcome, where he can use this ability only in the first round, but he can make a bonus missile action, meaning he can punch out a ton of missile damage, potentially with this, taking off one of your opponent's toughest pieces with this model. Now, the Iron Warden with the Grudge Hammer Torpedoes are really nice in there as well. And then you've got things like your 3 Iron Breakers. These are going to be essential for the Force, as they're going to be your objective holders. You're not going to be able to grab too many objectives with many of your other fighters. Remembering, flying models can't take them, so the Gyro Bomber can't grab objectives. Your Outrider is a nice utility piece for the army. He can choose to be another objective grabber, he can provide more firepower in the shooting, and he can also do okay in combat, as he does pack out a few attacks with his horse at 4 attacks at strength 3, 1-3 on the damage. Lastly, as I said, I've got the Gyro Bomber in there. This is a really powerful piece, can be great at range and in combat. Dropping those bombs in combat at strength 5 is really nice, and you can even combine this with the Rune Lord to use things like the Forge Fire to get some extra power in there as well on those bombs. Now, we've then got 1,000 points out of 1,000 spent. 130 Renown is at the higher end of average for how many wounds you should have on the table in a game of Warcry. Let us know what you think of Greywater Fastness as a Warcry warband. Love to hear from everyone down in the comments below. That's the end of the video, everyone. Thank you all for watching. We hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Also, drop us a comment down below in the comment section and let us know what you enjoyed about the video and what you'd like to see more of on the channel. If you'd like to come chat more with me and other members of our little community here we have at Sinful Gaming, you can do so on our Discord server, which is linked in the video's description. Also linked in the video's description is our Patreon and YouTube members, where you can go to help support the channel and allow us to keep doing what we're doing. As a special thank you to our Patreons and YouTube members, we'd like to give them all a shout out. So thank you to our Patreons: Christian Weir, Soren, Greenskins Gaming, Kenny Lauer, Outer Shot First, Andrew Bowen, Nathan Fee, The Rising Ape, Q Dynamic, Anthony B, JJ Austrian, Average Wargamer, Domir, Mark Harvey, James Cater, Derek, and Giappy390. And to our YouTube members: Green Roots Gaming, Kenton Young, Ronya, Lock Lorick, The Johnny84, David Ellsworth, Wolfric Nick, Broken Chef, Ariana Edwards, Revenar, Pink Nico Fire, Robin Mankiller, and Monty's Tabletop Terrain. And lastly, a special thanks to Lady Witchfox Art, who does all the amazing artwork you see on the channel. Thank you all for watching. Once again, stay safe, stay well, and most of all, keep fighting that war against the Grey. Ciao for now, everyone.